All right, welcome to the stream, everybody. We've got a special stream planned for tonight, and we have a special guest with us. I've been talking about it for about a week or two now. So tonight we have Ian Proulx, the owner and CEO of 1047 Games, makers of Splitgate Arena Warfare. I know some of my community has seen me play that game, whether it be here on Twitch or on Theta. You know I love it, and I've been tracking this game forever, and I'm honored to have Ian, aka Cardinal Soldier. A lot of you probably know him by Cardinal Soldier. Join us tonight. He's going to give us his insight into game development, into Splitgate itself, the gaming industry. I've got hopefully what are a lot of good questions for him. So thanks for joining us, Ian. Should I call you Ian or
Yeah, thanks
Cardinal
for
for the
having me.
whole interview? What do you want?
It doesn't honestly totally up to you. A lot of people call me Cardinal. I don't care. Yeah, either way.
Okay. All right. So to start us off, why don't you just tell us about like your background, like where you grew up, how you got into gaming, like what were the
Yeah.
games that really like turned on your passion?
Yeah, so I'm originally from the Bay Area in California. Started off my first gaming system was a Nintendo 64. So I was, really into Zelda, Smash Brothers, GoldenEye, pretty much all the popular games. I think what really turned this from kind of a hobby into more of a hardcore passion was when I got an Xbox. I loved gaming, but when I got Xbox and I got Halo 2 specifically, which had online play, that was what just totally turned this thing into an addiction. And I think for me, it was the social interaction of playing online with your friends, playing with strangers, doing a little bit of trash talking and just having that competitiveness. There's so many things that I think Halo 2 did right that was way ahead of its time. And that's just what got me into this. And so much of the influence of Splitgate is Halo 2 that you'll see. We try to kind of bring back some of those fun things of having a proximity voice chat, for example, and some of the old school gameplay we have. But yeah, I mean that's really how I got into it.
So, how did you? So, Halo was obviously a big influence for you. Halo 2 was the first game that really awoke my competitive spirit, by the way. And I don't know
Oh,
if you've tried
nice.
to play GoldenEye with an N64 controller recently, but it's a pretty incredible experience if you go back and try that. But
I
what
can imagine that.
yeah, one analog stick. Um
Well, I just didn't understand like what was the purpose of three different handles, with a Nintendo 64 controller. It was so bizarre.
Part of me still thinks that Nintendo has no idea what they're doing, and it just happens to stick every time. It's just
Yeah.
like I don't know, it keeps working, so just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Um, how did your gaming career start though? Like your game, like as a business, as an actual like career. Like how did you end
Yeah.
up getting into the industry?
Sure. So I think so. I went to Stanford, studied computer science. Gaming was definitely something I had always considered doing, even at a young age. It was something that was kind of on my radar. Of yeah, I probably want to do this, maybe. Um, I mean, really, I think the first time I started thinking more seriously about this was I was deciding between studying physics and computer science, and I took the first intro to computer science class as a freshman, and the teacher Mayron Sahami was just the most amazing, awesome teacher and amazing influence. And specifically, the third assignment we ever did in that class was building Brick Breaker, um, where you've got the little uh, ball that is bouncing around, and you have to drag the thing back and forth, and that was so rewarding to instantly after 3 weeks of work be able to do something like that where it's instant gratification, it's interactive, it's fun. You can do different extensions to make it unique and make it your own. And obviously, like, going from that's very different than building an entire like 3D FPS multiplayer game. But that was what got me, you know, I mean, I guess that's what really made it a simple decision of like, okay, I'm doing computer science over physics. Um, and then when I started thinking more, big picture, like I'm going to go do this thing specifically, and I'm going to go start a video game company. I guess that started off. I mean, so I had the idea of putting portals into a first-person shooter many years ago after playing Valve's Portal games. I just it felt so obvious to me. I didn't know if it would work, but it felt like it could. It felt like there was a really good chance that this amazing, unique concept would work in a first-person style shooter. Um, and so Stanford, they didn't have any sort of game development classes. Um, of course, studying computer science is the closest thing you're going to get, but there was no specific class. So I talked to my advisor. I said, "Hey, I really want to learn Unreal Engine 4 because that's what a lot of my favorite games use, right? Gears of War, Batman, Arkham, Borderlands, Fortnite. I mean, that was before Fortnite, but there's a ton of games that use Unreal Engine. So
Cardinal
to me, it was
Soldier
just like,
loves
I want to
Fortnite.
learn.
Breaking news.
That was, I misspoke. I don't actually like that, but you get the idea. It's like all the big games are using this. I want to learn this thing. I want to learn the big, cool, shiny engine, right? Um, and so I did for my senior project. I did an independent study where I learned Unreal Engine 4, and the basic idea back then was let's make a first-person shooter, and let's put portals into it, and let's see if it works. And it's funny because I still, even going into 10 weeks into development of this idea, I didn't know if it was fun. And it was right before the senior project fair. And at this point, I've only tested with my two laptops, right? So I haven't actually played the thing. And I've got the project fair this coming week, and there's going to be 8 setups, and I don't know if it even works, right? So I asked 7 of my friends, like, guys, can you come over and test this thing? I need to just make sure it actually works with 8 people. Can you just come test it for 45 minutes? And nobody wanted to because it's the weekend before finals. Everybody's super busy. They've got exams and projects and everything, right? But I convinced him, 45 minutes. That's it. Just come test it for me. And we ended up playing for 5 hours straight that day.
It's a good
And
sign.
that was kind of, the turning point and the kind of first aha moment for me of like, wow, this thing is really, really addicting, and it's fundamentally different than anything I've ever played. And what was so cool in particular about this during this 5-hour session, the game kind of changed as we figured out different things, right? Now we see the Akuvos and the End of Forevers of the world. We see what they're capable of. But when we were playing this as a group for the first time with one gun and garbage mechanics and terrible performance and whatever, we're still learning. The map is not designed in a particularly good way, right? But we're still figuring out. And it kind of starts off as this just shoot 'em up game where you kind of get from point A to point B, and then you start experimenting. And by the end of that 5 hours, we were doing things that we had no clue were even possible during hour one. And that continues to this day where I'm still, I play my game a lot, as a lot of people in the community know, and I'm still figuring out new things and improving my game. And I think that kind of learning curve is what makes this so special and what keeps me motivated to keep working on it.
Something that always like sticks out in my mind, and I don't know if you have any like thoughts on this or insight into it, is like I don't know how like the actual portal mechanic evolved because like I think of like how portals work and it seems like so intuitive because I've only played them one way, which is the way they're in the game, and
Mhm.
like I just think of like how much the game would change if like for example you couldn't see through uh like couldn't see through your own portal, or if you could see through the enemy portals, or if you couldn't take the enemy portals, like how much those one little change would change the way the game is played. Like did you guys
Yeah,
experiment with that, or did you always have this vision of like this is what would be
yeah, a little bit.
balanced? Or
I mean, we certainly never experimented with not being able to see through portals because that's the entire coolness of it, right? That's what makes it so just incredible and
Mhm.
wow, and cool. Early on, we actually did have it where you could see through every single portal, and there were really two reasons we shied away from that. Part of it was performance. Early on, the maps were just blockouts, so performance wasn't really an issue. But if we wanted to actually have a remotely interesting art style, you just couldn't have that many cameras rendering. And
Yeah.
even having the two portals, there's been so much optimization that has gone into this thing. I mean, people will tell you, like, people are locked at 240. That is not an easy feat
Yeah.
to have. Um, but I think really what stood out very early on was having all of these portals. It was just information overload. It's already kind of a overwhelming feature and just mind-boggling to be
Hmm.
able to have these two portals and have them connected. Like that's so much information to kind of take in, and if you start opening that up to everybody in the game, or even just at one point we talked about, well, what if we did it for teammates only? And even that, it's just like it's very, very confusing and
Yeah.
overwhelming. It just kind of simplifies it, where it's like, all right, if I go through this other thing, I don't know where I'm going, but the fact that I don't know makes it a lot less disorienting, because it's just like going through any teleporter
Yeah.
in any game. And then I can just focus on, okay, where are my two in my brain? Where are the two portals that I have set up? Like that's already a lot to keep in mind. But yeah, performance was also a big part of it.
Chat is really loving your dog, who's walked through the background a few
Oh,
times. So everybody's calling out the dog. They want to know if the dog's going to be
yeah,
in the
my
game
dog.
at any point, or
Probably not, but yeah, I love my dogs. My family's actually visiting from the Bay Area, and they brought one of my dogs
oh,
with
okay.
them. So
Nice.
nice to have him visiting.
Somebody had a really, I think it was Frank, had a really great question from chat that I wanted to call out, and that was, did your family have any specific thoughts or reaction? Because I always think of like people who want to get into the game industry, and there's a bunch of different paths, and those paths have changed drastically from 10, 15, even 5 years ago. Um, but did your family have any reaction? So you're going into college, you're thinking, I'm going to be in physics or I'm going to be in maybe computer science. Like, and when you decided, like, oh, hey, I think I might go in this, I think I want to make video games. Like, was your family supportive, or did you get any like pushback, or just what was your
Oh,
experience?
100%. No, my family was totally supportive. I mean, my dad actually started a company too out of college, so he was absolutely, and he's actually very involved, as a lot of people know. If you ever see O of One or T Proulx, he's very, very involved, which has been a blast. But no, my no pushback whatsoever. I mean, I think the one thing that my dad and my family have stressed in me is, like, if you do want to start a company, like, y- money cannot be the motivating factor. You need to be able to pull those all-nighters and work your ass off, and you're not going to be able to do that if the only focus is, oh, I hope that this thing takes off and I make money. Like,
Mhm.
you got to love what you're doing to work that hard. um, yeah. So no pushback at all. 100% support to this day. So
That leads us into our next question very well. You talk about loving what you're doing and being all in. So, what do we know you're, well, you wear many hats actually. So you're the owner and CEO. You're also a professional level gamer. But what do you do day to day? Like at 1047? What
yeah,
do you
I mean,
actually
it's
do?
it's changed a lot over the past 4 years, right? The first year was pretty much all I did was code. 99% of my life was just programming all day with Nick, my co-founder. Um, that's just kind of slowly shifted. That 99% has gotten much closer to 1%. So it started off as just that. A lot of my job right now is talking to, I mean, it's just a lot of phone calls and emails, honestly, like talking to potential investors, potential publishers. I mean, it's just, that is pretty much all I'm doing. And then also managing, checking in with the artists, checking in with the engineers, just making sure things are on track. Testing stuff, I like to make sure that I have a very good feel of everything going on, and that I stay on top of things. But I mean, honestly, like, I wish I had a better answer, but honestly, my job right now is phone calls and email.
Yeah,
Like,
communications, leadership.
yeah,
I'll make it sound good for you. It's not just phone calls and emails. Leadership. It's communications.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So 1047 is a remote company. Um, which until I started talking to you a minute ago, I did not know. Um, what has COVID-19 had any drastic effect on 1047 onto Splitgate's development? Which is, how long has Splitgate been in development now?
So I mean, if you count the senior project, I don't know, that was what, 2014. Um, we actually, though, set out to do this full time in January of 2017.
Okay.
So, January 2017, that was when I was finishing up my master's and Nick was finishing up his senior year. So we were good friends. We had met in the dorm the year prior. And actually, he was the one who I had to kind of convince to do this. Like for me and my family, it was like, oh, I'm all in. I'm doing this. Who cares if I make zero money? For Nick, it was definitely much more of like, he had a job offer that he had actually accepted from Amazon, and so it was like, hey, you could take that nice salary, or you could take zero salary and come work with me and start this awesome thing together. Um, so we started pretty much full time. I mean, we were full time students as well, but we just, it was like 20 hours of schoolwork and 80 hours of video game work. And then that was January of 2017, and then in June was when we took a week off after graduation, and then we just sort of hit the ground running. Hired um, hired like two or three contractors the first year, an artist, a level designer, and an animator, and that was it. And each of us were like, all right, we're going to put in, I think we put in $7,500 total. So it was like 15K budget. And that was it. We're like, this will cover what we need. We can use assets from the marketplace. We can hire, you know, basically we'll just have generic looking maps, but we can live with that. We've got a cool, gameplay is what's going to sell this.
Mhm.
About a year into development is when we actually got some seed funding. And that, really changed everything, because at that point it was like, okay, obviously we're not Fortnite, we're not Halo, we don't have a big budget, but we've got more than 15K. We can actually build out this team, and there's just a lot more we can do with this. Um, so now the team is like 25 of us. So we're much bigger than that kind of early, two full time and three kind of part time people. Um, Sorry, what was the rest of the question? I don't know if I answered. I just started.
Just has COVID, has the pandemic had any effect?
Oh,
You guys were
yeah. I mean,
remote to begin
yeah,
with, but
yeah. I mean, without getting into details, it definitely has. Like this whole process honestly got shifted back, with console, which obviously I'm sure everybody in the chat's probably asking about that
every
too.
question I
Uh,
got submitted was about when is the console version coming?
yeah. We're getting close to being ready to share something. I mean, we want to. So what I'll say is like we want to make sure we nail the console launch. COVID definitely set us back um, when it came to that, but we're very close development wise. It's kind of at this point there's a number of moving parts outside of just, oh, is the game complete? Does it
Mhm,
run right? Like part of it is, okay, we got one opportunity to prove to the world that this thing can be a top game on Twitch, right?
mhm,
um, we don't want to have a repeat of 2019 of like, hey, this thing gets all this hype and then it's not able to capitalize on that. We think we're extremely close. There's kind of a handful of small features and kind of business side of things that we want to wrap up and make sure our ducks are in a row before we kind of open the floodgates. But we're feeling very what I will say is it will be worth it. We're feeling extremely confident that this thing is going to take off. Um, we just want to make sure we don't rush it, because if we screw up, that's it. We've screwed up. We don't think we're gonna, but we want to make sure that everything we do, it's like, yep, we checked that box. Yep,
yeah.
we've got that. We want to leave it all out on the
I
table. So
I think that you guys personally are, I don't it probably feels much different being you guys and being the ones taking the risk and being the ones launching the product, but, um so many games I've played, they do get that big boom, and you guys did have a bit, like you said, in 2019, you guys had a good boom. I saw Doctor Disrespect playing Splitgate on stream. That's
yeah,
awesome. But so many games that you don't expect to die launch and die, like completely die very quickly. And this is just, I don't even you don't even have to answer this. This isn't even a question. This is just my personal
oh
thoughts.
yeah,
Like I can think of so many that were pretty good. I mean, Hyperscape, Realm Royale, from prominent companies
yeah.
that came out, had a big boom, and then just died. And you guys have had this like grassroots thing that kind of took hold and have
Yeah,
really
well, I'll
built.
tell you why I think we're different. I think kind of the traditional, and I think we're going to see a lot more of this over the next few years. So my belief is that mobile gaming is way ahead of PC gaming in terms of their approach to launching. I think Fortnite is sort of proving that free to play and that kind of mentality works. I think sort of the old school mentality with all these games is, spend years and years developing, put all your marketing dollars into the first 2 weeks, hope that you get that boom. It's like a movie, right? They're kind of treating it like this hit driven movie.
Out of the theater in
And
a
if it
month.
catches fire, sorry, say again.
Like it's in the theater for a month, and if you don't do well there,
Right,
you're done.
right. Yeah, and it's very, very hype driven and hit driven. And it's, if we can catch fire in the first 2 weeks, then hopefully we can do this. And if we don't, then we failed and we shot our shot and we struck out. Our approach was not that at all. We went into this and a lot of people look at this and they're like, oh man, the game flopped, like it had this big launch. And you're starting to see it's growing, right? But our approach from the get-go was we don't have the budget and we don't want to take that kind of risk. We want to treat this like any tech startup out there or what a lot of mobile games do, which is let's get our MVP, right? Let's get our minimal viable product out there in the hands of real users. We know we're not going to have monetization figured out on day one. We know the game's going to have issues, but we've got enough of a core mechanic and kind of the basics in place where we can start learning and we can start getting real feedback and we can start looking at the data and seeing, what's resonating with people, what's not working. And so, we got this massive spike that we had no clue. We did not expect a tenth of that, right? We didn't expect these big streamers. I think we did a lot of things right to kind of get ourselves in a position to get those players, but we weren't. We didn't even have a store on day one,
Mm.
right? You'd think a free to play game would launch
Yeah.
with a store. Well, our thought was like, well, who cares if we make money on day one? We're in it for the long run. So, instead of what a lot of game companies do is they look at, man, we failed. I guess this game just wasn't good, or people don't like it, or whatever. For us, it was just like, okay, well, so a lot of people are quitting. Some people aren't. What's the difference? Like, what's causing them to quit? And we started looking, and early on it was just a lot of like guess and look at the data and see if it was right, and we made a lot of good guesses. And now we've become much more analytical when it comes to this side of things. But really, like, the first thing we noticed was every single new user is logging on. They're getting, or not everyone, but like 59% of new users are logging on. They're getting obliterated in their first game ever, and they're quitting right there on the spot, right? It's gone are the days of Halo 2, where, if you look at the buying process for Halo 2, what was it, right? It's your mom drives
Yeah.
to GameStop, buys the game, gives it to you a week later on your birthday. You're not going to give up on that game after 3 minutes. You're going to stick with it because you've opened the box, so
Mhm.
you're not returning it at that point. So hopefully you're going to make sure that it's fun. Um, with a free to play game, and with gamers nowadays, it's if I don't have fun instantly, I'm done. I'm going back to Fortnite, going back to Apex, whatever. And I think that's what the PC games industry is starting to find out and learn is like, you can't get away with, if you want to compete in this space, you can't have this sort of traditional mindset of we're just going to put something out there and try to generate a lot of hype and we're going to focus just on that. You have to have a great new user experience. Players have to have fun instantly. They have to, there needs to be an onboarding process. And that's been what's made it easy for us to keep sticking with this is we're very analytical. And instead of saying like, well, why hasn't the game taken off? Well, we have the answers to that question, right? Instead of just keeping guessing, we look and we say, okay, people are quitting because of this. Well, that's easy to fix. Let's do this. And that's what has us so confident right now is we look at the data and by far our number 1, 2, 3, and 4 problems all stem from one thing, which is a small player base, right? Long queue times, high ping, poorly balanced games. We can see it and it makes sense. That causes people to have less fun and it causes people to quit more often. And so we've done some very, very basic projections and we've said, well, what would happen if during this console launch we put just enough money into the marketing this thing that we could have enough players that we could guarantee short queue times, low ping, and well balanced games consistently. And it's like, wow, if we can do that, our numbers go like that.
I
And that's what has us keep going. But we got to make sure we get it right. We
yeah.
got to make sure we're not going to rely on that. We want to make sure that everything we do is set up for success, and the servers are ready to handle that kind of scale. We're hiring more people to make sure that we can keep putting out content when we do release, and it's not just like this kind of shit show of like, oh my god, we have this influx of players, we can't keep up with the player demand. So we're just really right now, it's all about like, we got to make sure we get this thing right. We think if we do, this is going to be huge, but we got to make sure. Let's take our time, make sure our ducks are in a row.
I like your point about playing your first game and getting destroyed, because what Splitgate is, and I'm sure you agree, there can be a massive skill gap in it. It's a very high skill ceiling game, and I think when you look around the industry, let's take Quake for example. Quake was once like the
Yeah.
pinnacle of FPS. Like that was like the highest skill FPS. Now Quake is like, if you're a new player to Quake, you're just gonna get in, you're gonna get destroyed, and you're gonna
Even if
uninstall
you're
it.
a good, like I've tried playing Quake, and I'm an above average. I mean, I'm pretty good, right? I cannot do well in
Get
Quake. Like I
destroyed.
can't shoot stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I know Fortnite actually. I think it was like their it was well, not the second season, but like they're kind of like their relaunch there, or whatever they call the Act Two, Chapter Two. They don't even tell you, like in your very first game that they put you in, you're playing against bots, but they don't tell you that because they want to
Yeah,
guarantee that in your first game, basically, you're handed a free win. Like, so you could be like,
yeah,
"Oh my god, this was so fun!" You get that thrill of like,
yeah. Absolutely.
because
I mean, you
otherwise,
have to. That's yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
yeah, it really does. Um, so as somebody, who's now, I'm gonna say, hopefully you feel this way, established in the game industry, what's one thing that you really didn't expect, that if somebody's out there thinking of trying to break into the gaming industry or game development, what's one thing that you have ran into or experienced where like, man, I had no idea I was getting into this, or that we were gonna have this issue or challenge?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess the first thing I'd say, the first surprising thing to us that really like caught us off guard was like a big selling point of ours. We talked about Halo 2
Mhm.
earlier, how that was my favorite game that got me into it. Um, a big selling point of ours that we thought was the greatest thing ever was we actually at launch we brought back the Halo 2 1 to 50 ranking system.
Mhm.
And we thought, and we would literally we'd go to trade shows. We were at PAX East, and we would tell people like, they'd come by, they'd say, "Oh, this looks kind of like Halo," and we're like, "Yeah, yeah, it's like Halo 2. We
Feels
love
like it
that.
too.
Well, by the way, we're bringing back the Halo 2 1 to 50 ranking system." Every single person knows. Anyone who grew up playing Halo, they'll tell you, "Oh my God, thank you. That was the greatest system ever. I can't believe Halo got rid of it. Like, what idiots, right?" And what we learned the hard way is there is a reason that Halo got rid of the Halo 2 1 to 50 ranking system, which is it is horrible. And there's two reasons why it's horrible. Reason number one is, I mean, basically the way it works, right? Everybody starts at rank one instead of, starting in the middle and having your placement games like Elo. Everyone starts at rank one, and it takes dozens of hours to rank up. And so what we ended up seeing was a pattern where our biggest fans, right, our super users would play 12 hours a day, and they would rank up and they'd get to level 40 or 50 before anybody else did. And then they'd get into a situation where and this is on day 2, where we've got 10,000 concurrent players, but we've got this small population of people who are at rank 50 or 40 already, and they queue, and the matchmaker says, "Oh no, your rank is too high. You're not allowed to play with these rank 20s." And so what would happen is they would basically do one of two things, which is they would either quit because they're tired of waiting and they can't get a game anymore, or what they would do more often is they would say, "Oh, okay, well, I'll just make a new account. It's
Smurf.
free." And now you get the best players who are the super fans coming back in at rank one and obliterating everybody. So this problem just got inherently worse and worse and worse, where, just that, that. And meanwhile, like all of the new users coming in, their experience is just getting worse and worse and worse because it's pretty much 24/7. The best players are at rank one playing
Yeah.
with these people. And even on day one before this problem started, it's totally a crapshoot because everyone starts at rank one. So what we do now is we will actually look at for one, we do an elo based system, right? So middle, um, and based on that, we can very quickly see. And we've got your 10 placement matches. So we're, really, really quickly trying to figure out, okay, you're above average, you're below average, and we can get you those good games fast instead of, taking 10 hours to get you good games.
I remember all sorts of exploits in Halo 2 too, like people getting themselves banned on purpose to like then like starting like a new account with like those 14 days Xbox Live
Yeah.
trials or
Yeah.
like D rankers. You'd run into like people just throwing the game because they want to D rank
Yeah.
and
And
just
I mean,
play
and we
against.
had that too, right? Like all of those problems. The difference is those problems, over time when you've got a million people playing the game all the
Mhm,
time, those problems aren't as bad. But also, if you think about Halo 2, right, it's the same thing where even if your initial 10 hours of multiplayer are poorly balanced or 5 hours, it's just a different type of, I mean, different time of game. Like, you're not going to get discouraged. You're going to
mhm.
stick with it. You've already gone through the 8-hour campaign. Like, you like this game by the time you're playing matchmaking. So it's not going to discourage you and make you quit within 3 minutes, right? So
Somebody in chat had a really good question, and it was about your comment of having that big boom in the beginning that you didn't expect of 12,000 players on day one. And the question was like, what was that roller coaster like? Like, was it like amazing, and then was it very disheartening all of a sudden to see that dip, or was it like because you didn't expect it, it didn't like really affect you that much, like
yeah,
for
it
you
didn't
guys?
affect us that much. I mean, we definitely there were dark times, no doubt about it. But like I said, I mean, I think the main thing for us was once we started asking the question of why, instead of, it's very easy to just be like, man, we failed. We've spent all these years, but we kind of went in with this mindset, and so it was sort of like, all right, guys, we don't know what to expect. We don't know how many play. Are we gonna have 1,000 or 200 or 10,000 or 100,000? Like, we don't know. Um, and the fact that we got more than that was kind of exciting,
Hmm.
but then at the same time, like seeing it go down was obviously very disheartening.
Hmm.
But again, as soon as we asked the question of like why are people quitting, that just really made things simple for us because it was like, okay, well, they're quitting because of this, which in at least the first case, right? Obviously, there's a lot of different reasons somebody
Hmm.
can quit, but we saw, hey, this is a huge opportunity that is a very, very solvable problem, and then with season one in September, we solved that problem. And did we fix every problem? No, we didn't. But we made a ton of progress. Our retention got significantly better. And that's been the mindset since then is like, okay, we solved that problem. Now what's the next one? And that's what we've been doing for, a year and a half. And we're feeling really good. I mean, I think our Steam reviews and our internal kind of retention data shows that wow, we've really quadrupled our retention from day one. Our reviews have gone from 67% positive to 95% positive. So we're really feeling good about this thing. But yeah, I mean, it definitely there were dark times. It has not been all rainbow and sunshine.
Endo just admitted to D ranking in Halo back in the day, by the way. Um,
Nice,
but so
but
for
not in Splitgate, right?
not that he's admitting. Uh, so if you could give one piece of advice to somebody who's out there listening and trying to get into game development or break into the game industry, what would that piece of advice be?
Um, I mean, I think I would just say work harder than anybody, you know? Like, I mean, I think for me, I come from a sports background. And, that's always been my mindset playing sports was like, I'm going to outwork everybody. And I'm not the most naturally gifted, but if I can work harder than everybody else, I'll be pretty good. I
Mhm,
think it's the same thing here. It's like don't get discouraged, and I guess the other thing I'd add to that is like focus on one problem at a time. Especially getting started on this thing as two people trying to make a game that can compete with Halo. It's just like holy crap! Like how are we ever going to make anything? It's there's two of us. We have zero money. How are we ever going to get there? Well, you gotta define it as a lot of smaller challenges along the way. And instead of getting caught up on like, yeah, I want to be the next Fortnite or the next Halo, it's okay, well, in order to get there, this is where I want to be by the end of the year. Well, okay, if I want to be there by the end of the year, then by the end of the month, I want to be done with these things. And that means, well, then this week, let's try to get these things done. Um, and then it can very quickly start to become a solvable problem and an achievable goal. And it doesn't have to be obviously like your goal doesn't have to be the next Fortnite or the next Halo. That is our goal. Like no doubt about it. Like that's what we're trying to do, and we think we can. But you know, early on, thinking about that was just extremely overwhelming. But
Mhm.
after 3 months, it was like, hey, we've got a pretty cool prototype. And after 6 months, it was like, hey, we've got a few guns and a couple maps. And it just kind of kept going like that, and it's so rewarding. So you just got to get started, I guess, is the last thing I'd reiterate, is just get started and stick with it. The first 3 months for us were definitely like the hardest, where just anything we wanted to do took very long because we're learning Unreal Engine 4. We don't know what we're doing. Just trying to make a multiplayer first person shooter is hard, even if it sucks. Um, but after 3 months, it was just kind of like, wow, okay, we're starting to get this thing, and I'm gonna go make a shotgun today. Like that's really cool. Um, you know, and then we got into a rhythm and just kept going.
Um, yeah, for me, it's interesting you say, your goal is to, be the next Halo. Because for me, it's Splitgate what it was to me when I first played it. I don't know if it was like the alpha or the beta, what stage it was, but it was very early. Like there weren't textures on some of the maps yet, but the structure was there. To me, it was like I'm playing a new Halo because Halo had kind of fallen down at the time,
Yeah,
and Halo 5 had come out and kind of, not done so well in a lot of ways. Um, so to me, when I played Splitgate, I was like, this is the closest thing I have to a new Halo. Like that's
yeah,
the Master Chief Collection hadn't taken off. That was kind of a disaster at the time. So I don't
yeah.
know. You don't even have to answer that. There's nothing to say, but
Well, I think what I'll
take that
what
for
I'll
what it's
say on
worth.
that. Yeah, no, I mean, I think of that about this not just in terms of Halo, but in terms of arena shooters. You see this a lot, like, oh, arena shooters are dead, right? Like, Quake is not doing that well. Halo's not doing that well. Diabolical didn't have the launch that it could have had. Um, and you ask yourself why, right? Like that's the thing I do always, right? Like, why are arena shooters not doing well? Is it because every single person in the world just no longer they just stopped liking arena shooters? I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think you like arena shooters. I do. A lot of people on the internet like arena shooters. The
Call of
reason
Duty
my
at its
belief,
core is an arena shooter.
yeah, yeah. Um, but like an actual, hardcore Quake or Halo
Yeah,
style
yeah.
arena shooter, Unreal Tournament, right? Like, why is that not a thing anymore? It's not because people don't like it. Well, I have two theories, at least. This is what I tell myself on why Splitgate is going to be different, at least. The two reasons I think arena shooters aren't doing well. Number one, I think arena shooters have failed to innovate. You look at Quake Champions, it's the exact same experience that we were playing in 1998. And I mean, they've added some stuff like classes that
Yeah,
nobody wants.
yeah.
They've
Community
got,
hated that.
the other thing that's kind of tough for them, that I think is an advantage for us is, we don't have sort of the baggage that comes with being this huge franchise for the last 30 years. We as Splitgate, we can do whatever we want, and we've got our fans, and we're going to do things that satisfy them, of course. But we don't have to say, well, in 1998, all of our fans really liked this thing.
Yeah.
We could never change that, right? Same thing with Halo. It's like the fact that they added sprint, which is not,
Oh
I
God,
mean,
let's
whatever,
not
right?
talk about that.
Yeah, but like that little thing, they do that, and the world is in up in arms. And for us, we kind of have creative license as our own thing, where we can take the things that we really like about Halo and Quake and Unreal Tournament, and we can modernize it, and we can, simplify it or improve it or innovate on it. And so I think one of the two reasons that arena shooters haven't is they haven't innovated. I think, the portal mechanic is unique, it's different,
It's
right?
100%
I think the
unique.
other Yeah, I think the bigger thing though by far to me on why arena shooters haven't taken off. And I think a lot of this comes back to that kind of 30 years of baggage where you have to make sure to satisfy all of your hardcore fans from 20 years ago. Um, no one has made a casual and accessible arena shooter.
It's
Quake,
true.
like we talked about earlier, it's very, very difficult for anyone to pick up. We like to say our game is easy to learn, difficult to master. It's very, very simple. It's relatively slow, especially for beginners, right? You can just pick up Splitgate, turn your brain off, shoot stuff, have fun with it. It's got pretty big hit boxes, not a ton of recoil. It's very, very simple. There's not
You can play it
classes
like
and
Halo if you
abilities.
want to.
You can just play it like it's Halo, and it's a modernized Halo, right? There's various things about there's clunkiness to Halo. I love it, but there is clunkiness and outdatedness to it,
Mhm.
and we can kind of take the good stuff from back then. We can modernize it. We can make it casual, so that random 12-year-old Fortnite kids like my cousin love it, and then we can innovate and make it unique. And I think that's why we think we've got something that can make arena shooters take off and not just be this little niche thing that everybody talks about loving but nobody plays.
I think I think battle royale burnout is going to be a real thing too. So, one of the things I have on my channel is I'm on this, I call it the battle royale quest, where I promise to win a round of like every BR that ever comes out. I think I'm up to I've played and won 48 different battle royale games.
Wow.
But
I think I played 2 or
I think
3.
I think games like Splitgate and, hopefully Halo Infinite can rekindle that arena shooter thing too.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have like an arena shooter moment here in the next like
And
year or two.
the other thing I'll add to that,
Nice
a
shirt, by
lot
the
of
way.
people say like, thank you, yeah. People say like, oh, well, what's going to happen to Splitgate when Halo Infinite comes out? Well, I can't wait for Halo Infinite to come out. I think that if you look at the entire genre, Halo Infinite is going to get more people. It's going to take more people from Battle Royale and
Mhm.
get them into this style shooter than it is going to take away from us and get people to stop playing our game. That's, I absolutely believe that. You want to make arena shooters more mainstream again. You've got all this burnout on battle royales. You've got, even if we're doing really well, I mean, you look at PUBG. PUBG was really doing well, and Fortnite elevated it. When
Mhm.
Fortnite came out, it didn't kill PUBG. All it did was elevate the entire genre. And nowadays there's all these other battle royales, and PUBG's not doing as well as it was. But I think competition can be a very good thing for a genre.
Oh yeah, I could see a ton of people. It's interesting to me. I'm 34 years old, and I've got employees at work who are 16, 17 years old who've never played Halo before. And I think they're
Yeah,
gonna play Halo Infinite this year, and they're gonna be like, "Oh wow, like I really like this." And I could totally see that hook of like, "Well, you like this? Well, have you heard of this other game? It's like
yeah,
Halo but with portals in it, And you're like,
exactly.
you're there. Like it's
And
like
we'll
the
be out
perfect
before they are too,
yeah,
which is a good thing.
yeah. So that's a great. I think it's only gonna help you guys. So the time has come. This may be the most dreaded moment of the interview for you, but we're gonna put you through it anyway. Uh, you got to tell us about the console version. You got to tell us something here. Like we know it's coming. You guys have said it's coming. Everybody who submitted a question, it was the same exact question.
I know.
Can you give us a window, like a 3 month, like can you give
Yeah.
us like a?
Well, I mean,
It'll be out before this point.
it'll be out before Halo Infinite.
Okay,
Tell you that much.
okay, but which doesn't have a release date though. It's
Well,
probably
okay. Well,
this fall. It's Halo Infinite is probably
yeah,
this
okay.
fall.
It'll be out before that.
Okay, how about before? How about before Labor Day?
I don't even. What day is Labor Day?
In September,
Oh yeah, it'll be
I
out before
think.
that.
How about before the 4th of July?
Probably.
After
That's all I'm
Easter,
gonna
before
say.
the 4th of July. That's my there we
I
go.
I'm not gonna say anything else.
Breaking
But
news. Um,
we're as excited as you guys are.
do you have in all seriousness though, what and I don't know what you can and can't say because there's probably other companies involved and stuff. But what are your expectations for the console release? Everybody's obviously very excited for it. You guys are excited for it. The community's excited for it. what are your guys' expectations? I don't know if you have certain like
Yeah.
numbers in mind or just anything you can tell us.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you two things. So I think number one, we are budgeting. Well, we don't have a Halo budget, obviously, right?
Mhm.
So kind of the way we're budgeting is we want to make sure that at the end of the first 2 weeks we have, and this is assuming that we got zero organic downloads, right? So assuming that not a single person picked it up because they were told by a friend or anything. We are budgeting as if we will hit 2,000 concurrent players by the end of 2 weeks. We think we're going to be well above that, but that's kind of how we're planning. Um, but I think you know what is our expectation? Our expectation is over the next, I don't know, over time, we absolutely expect to be at the top of the Twitch charts and be a very very big mainstream game. But you can count on us hitting that 2,000 concurrent. And the reason we come up with 2,000 concurrent is we think if we hit that, we can have ranked 24/7 live with consistently very good games. So we want to make sure we put ourselves in a position where if you play Splitgate and you download it, there's no longer is this kind of finicky limited time stuff, which I think is absolutely the right call right now. We need it. But we want to make sure that we're in a position where if you play Splitgate, you're just playing it like it's any other game. You're hitting the play button, you're getting a game fast, it's well balanced. If you're in Europe, you're on a EU server. If you're in the US, you're on a US server. Um, so that's kind of that's our first milestone we want to get to, and we think if we can get to that, we can get a lot bigger.
So I'm sure you guys have talked about this and have way more insight into it than I do. But one of the things that I think about, and I'm sure many of the people in the community who already know and love Splitgate think about, is how does this game get bigger? And I'm sure you guys have asked yourselves that for the past 7 years, however long it's been. And as I'm thinking about it coming to console and how distribution of games is changing and stuff, it's a free to play game already. But have you guys, and you might not be able to say this, had any considerations or discussions about like some tie in to like Game Pass or PlayStation Plus, Epic Game Store, Humble Bundle, anywhere out there where there's like established
Yeah,
communities, of millions of people already, we could put Splitgate in front of them.
yeah. I mean, I can't really say much about that without giving away what console we're coming to. But no,
Okay,
we're definitely having those conversations.
okay, okay. You notice he said singular console. You mean to do that?
What? No, I didn't. I said convert. What did I say?
Uh, Watch the VOD later, guys. All right, let's talk about esports. Um, so Splitgate was obviously built to be esports ready day one. Like the whole look of the game is very like it has like a I don't want to say futuristic like athletic look to it, like a map like Saw Stadium. Like it feels like
Yeah.
a sports arena, right? There's I love the G Fuel
Well, look
ads,
at the logo,
by the way.
right? I
Yes,
mean,
yes. G Fuel
yeah.
ads in the game, very esports ready. So what do you think about the future of Splitgate, both as an esport and then the future of esports in general? So we're still in kind of the wild west days of esports.
Yeah.
So where do you fall on all of this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm probably a little boring to ask about esports. I absolutely believe this thing can and will be a huge esport. It's just, to be totally honest, like right now we're doing it. We're doing these tournaments because it keeps people happy. I love participating in these tournaments, but like esports is not the focus until we're big. Like we're going to
Mhm.
keep doing this because we want to make sure that this is a big part of our community. This is a big part of our game. But like we're not really thinking like what's the long-term esports plan other than the plan right now is to get big, and we're going to keep doing a little bit of this esports stuff. But if we get big, that's going to be, one of the big opportunities there as well. So, I honestly, like, I wish I could say I've put a ton of thought into this and here's our roadmap for
Yeah.
esports. I just haven't. Like, my goal is get big and esports will follow. We've made a game that is very, very specifically designed to be an esport. It's fun to watch, it's fun to play, it's skill based. It's going to be an esport. I just don't have a very specific answer to that.
I I personally think that's a good answer because um, your goal right now is to put players in the game, and the
Yeah.
esports scene will continue once the game becomes a success. So I think that's the right perspective. Um, so you mentioned like roadmaps, and I just want to ask you, like what's your not just for Splitgate, but for 1047 in general? Do you guys have like a 10-year plan? I know that's a long projection, but
Hmm.
I know as
Yeah.
CEO, that's kind of your, that's your gig. So what are your
Yeah. I
thoughts
mean,
there?
we do. So obviously, it's kind of a 10-year roadmap. It's total bullshit because who knows,
Yeah,
right? I mean, I'll say a lot of it does depend on how well Splitgate does. We absolutely think it's going to be huge, and that's what we're going to focus on. And to be totally honest, like my ultimate goal is for Splitgate to be on everything, including mobile. Um,
I
but
like that.
we're not, we haven't started on that, so you can, yeah, we're not doing that anytime soon. But
That's your
that
goal.
is that is something I want to do. In terms of future games, I've got about two very specific other game ideas that I'm very excited about. I'm not going to say much about them. One of them is Battle Royale. It's totally unrelated. Both of them are totally unrelated to Splitgate. They have nothing to do with portals. Um, they're just their own thing that I think could. I think one of them. Here's kind of the thing I joke about. Actually, we joke about how arena shooters are dead, and we're going to bring them back to life. My goal is that by the time battle royales are dead, we'll bring that back to
I
life
like
too.
that.
So
Um, so you see 1047 eventually becoming a multi-studio or a multi-game studio.
yes,
I
yeah,
like that. I like that. That's awesome news. As somebody who's a fan of your first game in the studio, that's very encouraging to hear. So I'm sure
appreciate
everybody in
that.
chat and Splitgate fans are excited because for me as a fan, it's always we know games like being built for 5-10 years or more now are like the thing, but it's also exciting to think of and look at a project and say like, wow, this is really good. I wonder what else they can do. So not I don't want to like I'm not trying to like wash over Splitgate by any means, but it's
Yeah,
exciting that you guys
yeah.
have other ideas that are being thought of down the road, especially battle royale. That was one of the other questions. I think this got submitted 3 times. Was did you guys ever consider a Splitgate battle royale mode? A lot of people asked that.
Yeah, not really. I mean, I've certainly thought about it. I actually think it could work, and I think it could be super fun. It's just not something that, like, I don't know. It just doesn't excite me that much. I would have to convince myself that like Splitgate Battle Royale would be so fun that it has to
Yeah,
happen. And kind of where I'm at right now is I feel like Splitgate Arena Shooter is so fun that
yeah.
I want to keep doing that. I want to keep playing that. And then this other battle royale idea that's totally different. I think I'm extremely excited about. It. I think it could be huge, and I think it's totally different than any battle royale out there. Um, but like doing a Splitgate battle royale, I feel like would just kind of be a cash grab of like, okay, the only scenario we would do it would be like, okay, Splitgate's doing really well,
Got a
and
million players.
we yeah, we got a million players, and like let's put this thing out because it's just another thing. um I don't know. I think it could work, could be fun. I guess I would much rather do big team battle at some point
Hmm,
in the future than I would
that's a
do,
cool idea.
and that gets me more excited than Splitgate battle royale. But there's a lot of things I want to do. My interests may change. If a year from now we've done battle royale, or we've done big team battle or something, and I want to make a forge mode, right? I want to have an in-game map editor. Like there's a lot of things I want to do. Maybe in a year from now it's like, huh, well, we've done all these cool things. What now? Let's do a battle royale. That'd be cool. I don't know. CS:GO did a battle royale. I don't think that was
Didn't go
particularly
over very well.
interesting.
Yeah.
But so I kind of feel similar to that. I think we could do a better job than they did, but yeah,
Bold
I wouldn't
statement.
rule it
Could do a
out.
better
It
job
just
than
doesn't.
Valve than based Gaben.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know.
No,
It
in
doesn't. It
fairness,
doesn't
their BR wasn't
particularly
very good.
excite me. Yeah, it doesn't particularly excite me right now. I don't really like battle royales that much, from what I've played. So, but I'm not going to rule it out. I could see myself wanting to do that at some point.
I could see, like you said, like big team battle split case sounds awesome. By the way, I definitely like to see that at some point. But I could definitely see. I've seen a bunch of games they tend to, it's almost like they put the cart before the horse, and they put out like all this content, like a game launches and it's kind of a small game, and there's like 25 modes in it, so like there's not enough people playing this mode to run a match of this mode, and they're just, it gets so like
Yeah.
the focus is lost. So I think you guys are very smart to like hone in on like, this is what we are. This is Splitgate. We are an arena shooter. I would love to play Splitgate Battle Royale. I will be there playing it day one if it ever
Yeah.
happens. But I think you're very smart and astute to be like, this is our identity and this is what we do really well and this is what's going to hook people. So as much as I would love it, I think when you hit that million player mark, yeah, then Splitgate
Yeah,
Battle Royale.
exactly.
Let's
Then
do
we'll
it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't Here's what I'll say. We're not gonna do the following. We're not gonna fail and then be like, man, that didn't work. Let's just put out a battle royale because
Yeah.
maybe that will.
Um, what's your favorite BR, by the way? Now that we're talking about it, just your favorite.
Uh, I guess so. The only one that I've ever actually enjoyed and played more than 3 hours of is PUBG.
Yeah,
Um, which I think if you put them head to head, like there's no way that's the best one. I think it's just
some
kind of like
classic about it though.
it was cool, and like when I first played it, I think I've got like 80 hours in the game, and it was fun. And it was very rough around the edges, and then the more polished ones came out. But by the time Apex and Fortnite and Call of Duty came out, I was like, yeah, I'm done with this thing. Um, I'll say the one that I think is the best, which is going to be controversial, is Fortnite. And I think there's a lot of reasons to hate Fortnite.
End stream. Where's the button?
I think there's a lot of reasons to hate Fortnite. I think the shooting, for me, the reason that I enjoy it the least of any of them is the shooting mechanics. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care how cool anything about Fortnite is. When I click the mouse, I want it to feel really fun, and I think
Yeah,
that's something that Splitgate really does well. And obviously, Call of Duty, it's fun when you click the shoot when you shoot something, right?
shoot down.
Um, I don't feel that with Fortnite, but I think just philosophically, there's a lot I do appreciate about Fortnite. I think the building mechanic is brilliant. I see so many parallels with what they're doing with that and what we're doing with portals.
Mhm,
Um, I like the simplicity of it. I don't want to have classes like in Apex. I don't want to have sliding or abilities or
mhm.
different things or power ups or whatever or classes in Call of Duty. I'm a simple guy. Like it's overwhelming for me. Like
That's what's
just
great
let me
about arena
drop.
shooters, though, too, right? Just
Yeah,
jump in and
exactly.
play.
Exactly. But I like the simplicity of it. I appreciate that. I think they have a very, very amazing mechanic in building that is just like us. It's super easy to learn, jump in, have fun, and it's super difficult to master. So I can appreciate it, but also hate it at the same time.
I'm
So,
I'm the exact same mindset. Like I really respect like how brilliant it is because it's truly one of a kind. Like it was first of its kind, one of a
yeah,
kind. But I absolutely hate it. When I get into a fight, the
yeah.
last thing I
No, I
want to be
agree.
doing is building a house. Like I want to shoot the guy. That's it. That's all I want to do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but it's
The other thing I
it's another
do
high skill
really
ceiling game.
Yeah, the other thing I really think they do better than anybody else is just these live events.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the coolest thing ever. I want to do that. We're not doing that anytime soon, but I think,
Oh,
there's just so many cool things that they do right. It's too bad that I don't like the game because there are so many things to like, but it's just for me, it's not fun.
yeah.
And if it's not fun, then it doesn't matter. But I think, one thing we kind of did a little bit for season one that I absolutely want to do going forward is seasonal changes. I think that's brilliant, and I think it keeps things fresh. You know, I would like to every single season have every map in our game, be the first arena shooter to do this kind of map change where maybe Pantheon, the rock wall came crumbling down, and the map is slightly different. Maybe I mean, maybe Atlantis is flooded and part of the map is. I mean, I haven't done these,
It's
so don't
flooded in
get
G
excited.
Fuel.
But like, these are kind of the things. Yeah, exactly. But these are the things that I think could be really cool and keep an arena shooter very fresh. And maybe it's just visual changes, right? Maybe it's just as simple as like it's daytime instead of nighttime, or it's snowing outside. Just little things like that. If you can get that every 3 months, like
Mhm.
as an arena shooter, there's also, there's the value of the familiarity of like, I don't want my map to totally change because I've spent 3 months learning the power positions and everything. But at the same time, like it gets boring and stale if I'm
Mhm.
still doing the exact same strategy I've been doing. And if I have to shift that slightly and relearn it slightly, where like I can still use a lot of my learnings, but I'm pushed to try to, I got to play it a little bit differently. I think that could be very cool. I think, Fortnite does that, um, and that's something we would like to do. In addition to releasing new maps as well,
Mhm.
obviously. But
So you mentioned future content. I think that's an awesome idea, by the way. Even just slight changes, like you said, just to keep people coming back. I got to check it out. I got to see what's new this season. But you mentioned future content, and I was going to ask this, and a couple people in chat asked this. One of the things, obviously, we're going to get new maps over time. That's all good stuff. But I wanted to ask you about weapons because I always, I'm sitting here thinking back because obviously you guys draw a lot of inspiration from Halo and
mhm.
the more classic Halo games. I'm trying to think of what weapons, you guys don't have yet because I assume that would kind of be an inspiration, and I don't want to put any words in your
Yeah.
mouth. But can you tell us something? Tell us something. What do you got in mind for
Sure.
weapons?
Well, I guess the way I look at it, so there is one weapon I have in mind that we've started on. Again, like I don't want to have a ton of weapons because
Mhm.
again, it comes back to like to me, it's like this. There's beauty in the simplicity of it. Of
Mhm.
like, this is the shotgun, and it's fun, and it works, and it serves a purpose. And this is the rocket launcher, and this is the snipe. Like everything is very different, and it has its purpose. And I don't want to add. Here's the slightly different SMG
Yeah.
that does a little bit more damage at a slightly, here's the rocket launcher that has a smaller radius but it's fast. I don't want to do
Mhm.
that. But there is one gun, because I do feel like one of the things that we've talked about that we feel like is missing is a unique gun. Everything is fun, it's all good, but there's nothing that's like, oh, that's the Splitgate gun. It's like, yeah, the railgun is sick and it's fun, and the sniper, and everything is. I'm very happy with every gun in the game, but there's nothing that makes me say like, oh yeah, I remember that gun. That
Mhm.
thing from Splitgate is so unique. So basically, the thing actually it's still being slightly figured out. But kind of the one mandatory thing, as we've discussed this new gun, is it has to have some sort of thing that is related to portals. So maybe that means when you shoot through. I mean, we're still figuring it out, but like maybe it's if you shoot through it, it does something different. Or how does it interact with the portals? Or does it destroy portals? Or does it, you know, suck up the portals for energy? There's it's not figured out, but it's a futuristic looking gun. It's going to do something unique with portals because that's, we want to have our signature weapon that's a
Mhm.
power weapon that everybody remembers.
Signature weapon, power weapon. We got a few little details out of you there. I appreciate that.
It's
Everybody,
not figured out, is what
yeah.
I'll say, but it's going to be something different.
Everybody in chat is saying, grenade launcher. Please don't make the brute shot 2.0. That's all I'm going to tell you.
It's not going to be a grenade launcher.
Uh, the
It's
only
got to
other
be unique. All right, a grenade. Everybody's got a grenade launcher.
futuristic, so it's probably not a flamethrower. Uh, what are your thoughts on the lightning gun from Quake? Remember that one?
Yeah, I mean, I like lightning gun. Is that the one that you hold down the trigger, or that?
Yeah, yeah. It was like
Okay,
it was part of the
yeah,
like unholy, whole like, yeah. It would have been an unholy trio. It's Quake, not a holy trio. I think like they had like the rockets,
yeah.
the lightning gun, and like the
Or like a Zarya beam, kind of, right? Is that
yeah, yeah,
similar?
yeah.
Yeah, so I think something like that could be cool. I mean, I would definitely do something like that before I would do a grenade launcher. Um,
I could
because
see
I don't
grenades
know. I want
being
it to
really
be
easy to
different.
evade with portals because you've got a
Yeah, and actually,
detonation
that's something.
time.
So we tested. People. Sometimes we get people saying, "Oh, you guys should add frag grenades, or grenades should do damage," right?
Mhm.
We actually tested that in an alpha like 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, yeah, probably 3 years ago, and it just didn't work that well because for exactly that reason. It's like you can jetpack out of the way, you can portal out of the way. It pretty much it's just worthless. But I should just shoot this person instead of
Mhm.
throwing a grenade at
Yeah.
them, right? I mean, you already we have people complaining that the EMP takes too long to throw. now instead of hitting a non-moving portal, you have to hit a moving target who can jetpack, right? Like
with a
that's how
grenade.
frustrating it would be.
Yeah.
Um, so
So one of the one of the we've talked about Fortnite a bunch of times and given them credit for a lot of things that they've done well, and they're like the ultimate, I think, example of it. Of and I think they're at the point where I'm not sure they're promoting their game as much as like other companies are using Fortnite to promote their stuff. Like, but that's the main point is Fortnite does these
right.
collaborations to promote their game and engage their player base. So I just wanted to ask you. We've seen a few collaborations. We've seen G Fuel, we've got T Fuel skins in there,
Yeah.
and there's probably a few others that I'm not coming by. But do you have any thoughts on any future collaborations? Maybe anything you're working on or anything
Yeah.
exciting in the pipes?
Nothing I can share. We have two collaborations that we have um, pretty much. It's not a done deal yet, but we've got two that were in the works basically that they're going to be cool. It's not like a huge Star Wars level
Iron
collaboration,
Man
right? But
skin and Splitgate.
right. No, it's not like that, but it's a cool thing. It'll be cool. But yeah, we can't really talk about it, but
Okay, well, it's cool to know that there's two that are basically done deals and are on the way. Um, just a couple more questions, then we can wrap things up here. I think you still got some more time.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you for joining us, by the way. I think this is
Yeah, no, it's
awesome.
fun to
Hopefully
talk
it's fun
about
for
stuff.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so you're also, as well as being, a CEO and a game developer, you're hopefully you don't mind me saying this, a professional level gamer. I think I read that, you compete in Splitgate, and I think you read that you were like top 500 in Halo 5. Was it Halo 5?
Yeah.
Um, so we interviewed Endo 2 weeks ago about his kind of professional gaming, like his path and his insights. But for anybody out there who wants to be a pro gamer and maybe be as good as CardinalSoldier is at Halo or Splitgate, what advice would you give? Like, would you have like a practice routine, or are there certain skills that
I
you
don't know. I mean,
practice? Portaling,
play
obviously,
a
in your
lot.
own game. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's a lot not easier. It's actually probably harder, right? It's so much more competitive nowadays to be, if you want to be pro in like Call of Duty or anything, like that's crazy, right?
yeah,
Um, I mean, I was never pro in Halo. Like I was very good, but I was only good because I just played a ton because I was addicted to the game. And actually, Halo 5, the reason I was so good at that one in particular was I got injured. That was my senior year. I was on the basketball team. I got injured, so I had to get shoulder surgery. So I had already, because I knew I was playing basketball, I had taken a very light load for classes. And then I got injured and therefore didn't have any basketball that I could do. So I'm just like, all I can do is sit around all day and play a ton of Halo,
hmm
and that was when Halo came out, right? 2015. So yeah, so that's why I got good. Just play a ton, right? I mean, for Splitgate, it's kind of it's not necessarily easier, but obviously, if you can find a game that doesn't have 10 million players, like
yeah.
it's easier, right? I mean, not to take anything away from these guys, like what they've been able to do is nutty. It's crazy, like the triple portals that people are Akuvo and End of Forever pull off. Like that's something I'm actually like, especially the last couple of weeks I've been working on is my triple portaling and trying to get good at that. And Maddie's one of the best at that too. And I mean, there's so many people you could list off, but I mean, yeah, I mean nowadays aim training I hear is good. I don't really do it. I'm sure it helps. I know that Bitey and a lot of the people on Bork Ritz, they've got probably the best. They're probably the best aiming team, and I think a big reason is they religiously are practicing Kovacs in addition to playing Splitgate a lot. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think for Splitgate, the only thing you can really do beyond aim training to get better is just practice, practice, practice. Right? You know, practice rollouts, practice power positions, different scenarios, different maps, scrims, whatever it is, practice a ton. I don't have a good answer.
That's not bad.
But yeah.
Do you ever get do you feel like I could see this going two ways? When you get killed by, I mean, this obviously happens often, or lose to people at your own game, Do you feel that as like, does that piss you off? Like, man, I'm getting beat in my own, or is it kind of like an honor that there's people out there who are
You know,
so
there was kind of
engaged in
a
your
there was
game?
a breaking point for me. So early on, yes, because it was like early on I was the number one player, right?
Mhm.
Just because there weren't that many, and I practiced because I was the only one who had access to practice. So I was the best player, and then it was kind of like at some point people started beating me, and then it was like I didn't want to accept that, but then eventually I did accept it, and I was like, okay, I'm no longer the best at my own game. I'm still good. I can still have fun, like
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Um, and then I think definitely recently the last few tournaments I've definitely gotten back into that kind of mindset of like I'm the best. And I don't think I'm the best player by any means, but I definitely like the kind of the competitive side of me has come out a lot more, where it pisses me off if I don't win. And we had a tournament where my team, genuinely, I still think we were the best team that day in that tournament. And we were the 3 seed. I think we're the 3 seed, maybe the 2 seed, but we beat Bang, which ended up winning the tournament. We beat Most Hated, and they were the returning champs. And so we won the winners bracket, and then we go into the grand finals, and we have this hour and a half break while we're waiting for the losers games. And we honestly just weren't mentally ready.
Hmm.
The Bang, came fresh off of beating Most Hated, and they just whooped us in the first. Like we just got obliterated in the first round, or in the first match, and it was just kind of like, man, we just totally blew our lead, right? Like we've been on our A game all day, and so that day, and then the ending. I don't know if you saw it, but it was best of seven. We went to game seven, so super. Just other than that first game, it was neck and neck every game, and Pantheon team deathmatch, and I wanted to win so badly. Like I literally that game, I played the best game of my life that day, on that specific last game, and just so many clutch plays where we're ahead the entire game, and they're just kind of inching away, coming back, and it ends with it's 49-49. Or actually, it was 49-48. I think it was me actually. I got a kill on Ritz, I think, on open snipe. It's now 49-49. And at that point, everybody just kind of realizes, like, holy crap, it's
Yeah.
49-49. And everyone's like, shut up, calm down, like, stop what you're doing, whatever. And it's like, who has a power weapon, right? And it's like, I have a carbine, so I don't have anything. I'm hiding. Nobody's got anything except Vitter, and Vitter's got a sniper. And I'm sure, Bang, a Kuvo, I think it was a Kuvo, Tanner, man, people are gonna be mad that I forget this. Kuvo, Tanner, Ritz, and Illusions, I think. Hopefully I get that right. I'm sure they're having the exact same conversation we are, right? Which is like, holy shit, it's 49-40. And this is the entire tournament. I'm calm. I don't feel pressure. Like my whole life, I really like playing sports. I don't have that kind of nerves until that very moment. It's like all of a sudden I go from like, I'm playing calm, I'm cool. And oh my God, my heart just starts pounding a ton. And it's 49-49. Tanner's got a sniper. Vitter's got a sniper. They both peak at the exact same time, shoot at the exact same time. Tanner gets a headshot. Vitter gets a chest shot, and we lose. And that was after like 10 hours, and I was fucking pissed off. And I didn't, I kept my cool. I was like, all right, whatever. It was fun. Yeah, I try to always be positive, but yeah, that one stung. But yeah, so I I think that was like my prime team. And we've kind of like our team is split up a little bit. Just like our best player, one try he hasn't been able to play recently. He's going through personal stuff or whatever, doesn't matter. But so he hasn't been having access to play. So we're kind of we're trying to win, and we've actually got a really good team this time. Where it's me, Vitter, Chasen, and Tenor. Tinor's one of the new players who's just come out of nowhere and is dominant, and Chasen's obviously like a top tier player who's been around for a while. So we're going into this next tournament with the goal to win. Um, but definitely like that competitive edge, like of all times, that one tournament was like it came back out in me.
Yeah. the fact that you can listening to you tell that story about that tournament though is like that's like it's moments like that, like just even hearing you talk about the game that passionately, like it's like that's when you know, like, and I've known this isn't news to me. Like Splitgate is something. Like just listening to you tell that story of that tournament and that final play and that competitiveness, and that was like that monologue right there was extremely enjoyable as a fan. So thanks for that.
Yeah, you're bringing up the past. You're making me go back through my little PTSD from this, but no, it was fun.
So two more questions. One is from chat, and it might be a really quick one. Any thoughts on ever allowing mods in Splitgate? I would guess no, since it's a online competitive game. But
No, I think we want to actually. We actually probably a year ago started on development of a mod kit, and kind of just got sidetracked, and different features become a higher priority, and then you got a deadline, and I think it was for season 2 maybe, and it was just like, all right, we need to table this because we need to do these things for season 2. Um, we want to bring it back. I mean, I think it would probably only be allowed for custom games, right? But I was really into like Unreal Tournament 3 mods.
mhm.
I've got fond memories of that. So I would absolutely love to do something like that at some point.
All right, so this is the final question. This is a tough one. A lot of people struggle with this question, but I ask everybody who I interviewed this question. So it's straightforward, but most people can't usually answer it. And it is: do you agree or disagree that everybody listening to this interview should avoid anything that involves Will Smith whatsoever?
Oh, disagree.
Why?
I think I Am Legend is an amazing movie.
Have you read the book?
No,
You should
I
absolutely read.
should. Yeah.
Or no, it's a graphic novel. Sorry, not a book.
Okay.
Graphic novel is amazing. You should totally. You gave a straightforward answer. Most people are
Yeah.
like, I don't know, and they don't like what they don't want to insult Will Smith. I don't know. I just became a meme. I've been asking
Yeah. I
everybody,
mean, that's funny. Yeah. I mean,
and I usually bring up his music
I'm not like
because
a
people don't
particularly
usually even
big.
know he makes music.
Yeah. I didn't. Well, I know that he has like there's some I don't remember. There's some like Bad Boys rap song or something, or
He has a lot of
maybe
really
it's
bad
something else.
music. You should look it up sometime.
Yeah. Anyway, um, I Am Legend is a great movie. It's the only movie that's ever made me cry.
The only movie
Yeah.
for real?
Yeah, the
Chip,
dog dies at the end.
uh, got some stuff in chat here. Wild Wild West is a great song by Will
Yeah, that
Smith.
one. Okay, that's what I was gonna say.
Fresh
Yeah, that
Prince is
rap song.
classic. All right. So, for everybody who's listening right now at this very concurrent moment, we know we have the console release. What's coming up for Splitgate here in the next few weeks? We got a couple tournaments, right? Kind of just give us some stuff to look
Yeah, we
forward
got
to.
another pro tournament. Is that next week or in 2 weeks or something? I don't
It's the
even know. It's in
28th
the
is the
next
pro
week or
tournament.
two. Okay. So yeah, so we got that. I mean, that's kind of the only thing that we've got on the in the near future. But yeah, 2021 is going to be a fun year.
I like that. I like that. And everybody's just asking when console release is in chat again. So, all right. Do you have anything else that you want to, let people know, or any topics you want to, any inspirational words to play us out, or anything like that?
I think I've said enough. But
Yeah.
if you're not in the Discord, you should absolutely be in the Discord. It's a blast. The devs, me personally, a lot of the community members and managers, like we love to play this game. We love to hang out in the Discord. So if you're not in, most of you probably are. You should absolutely join discord.gg/splitgate. That's about all I got for to wrap this up. But yeah,
Well, thanks
thanks for
again.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for all your time. Thanks for answering my questions. Hopefully, you had some fun too. I know chat was very active,
Yeah.
so I think a lot of people enjoyed
Oh,
the
I have a
insight.
question for you.
Oh, sure.
If I want to get into politics or run for mayor,
Yeah.
what would your advice be?
So similar to your advice for game development, like you just gotta get started. So what I did is, I basically just like reached out to my local county committee for the political party that I belong to, and not everybody belongs to a political party. I understand that, but it's the easiest mechanism to get in. Not I don't mean get into office, but to find like directions for what's out there. So I reached out to them and then just started doing some volunteer work. And then before I know it, you find out that there's a ton of offices that like nobody is running for, that you can't find candidates for at all. And then
Right.
they're asking the 21-year-old kid who has no experience, "Hey, you want to run for office?" And that's literally kind of how it started for me. I was like, "Hell yeah, I'll run for office!" Like, and it was a huge
That's cool.
endeavor, but that's pretty much what you got to do. Is like I think a lot of people expect like the red carpet to be rolled out for them, with not just in government or politics, but in anything. Like you think if something you really want to do it, it's your destiny. Some opportunity has to come to you. In my experience, in anything I've ever done in my life, and it sounds like you would agree with this based on your story, but if you don't, that's okay. You can say so, but you just got to go do it. Like you have to make your
Yeah.
opportunity. Like you have to
No,
just be like,
absolutely.
I'm gonna do this, and whatever happens, happens, and I'm going all in.
Yeah, you just gotta have faith that it's gonna work out, or if it doesn't, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
And I think it's applicable whether you're running for office or you're starting a video game company or you're whatever trying out for a sports team.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember the first time I ran for office. I had been thinking about it forever. And being there election night, there's big election night parties, when you're watching all your results come in like live. And I got like creamed. Like I was a 21-year-old kid with no experience. I was still in college. And I don't like I got 38% of the vote, and it was like it was crushing standing there. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was like this was my destiny, like that kind of thought process, like I gave everything. I went all in and I failed. But then like within like 2 days, I knew like I'm running again, like and I lost the second time too, but I gained like several hundred votes. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, I'm making progress here. I'm onto something, and then
Yeah.
next thing you know, I'm in office.
Same. I mean, a lot of parallels with us. So hopefully, we will have the same parallel of you getting elected with us succeeding.
Splitgate will have 30 million players and I will be president of the United States.
Perfect.
Is 30 million enough?
Uh, I'd like a little bit more than that,
Okay.
I think, but
About 50.
yeah, we'll cross that bridge. Let's get to 10 first.
Okay. Sounds
That's
good. All right.
anyway.
All right.
Cool.
Cardinal, Ian, thank you very much for your time. If you guys are watching this later on YouTube, make sure you go play Splitgate. Follow them on every social media platform that you can. It's a great game. Hopefully, you guys got some great insight from the interview. And thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Ian. Yeah. All right. End the stream. See you guys later.